The show is brought to you by our generous patrons at patreon.com/Fallout Lorecast.
Robots Radio presents the Fallout Lorecast.
Welcome to the Fallout Lorecast, a place for the Fallout community to come together to explore the boundaries of our knowledge about the world of Fallout. Wastelanders, Vault Dwellers, welcome back to the Fallout Lorecast. This is your host, Tom, or Robots, and it is the end of the month again. It's the end of March, which means it's time for another patron chat episode, and we've got a bunch of our patrons here to join me. This week, we are discussing kind of a continuation of last week's topic about which of the factions might actually have a plan for the future of the Wasteland and can help us to actually survive things. And some of the other people that I have to join me this week include some favorites and some new patrons, or at least patrons that you haven't actually met yet. So let me go through and we're going to introduce some of these people who are here to join us this week. We've got Lil Green joining us again. Lil Green, welcome back. How's it going?
It's going pretty good. Happy to be here as always.
Yeah, man, it's good to see you again. I'm glad you're able to join us. And we also have the Germinator joining us from the other side of the planet down in Australia. How's it going, Germinator?
Yeah, not bad. How you guys going over there?
Good, man. I'm so glad you're able to join us. You're on your lunch break. It's the evening for us, but it's the middle of the day for you. So cool, man.
Yep.
That's very, very cool. I'm excited to get your opinion on some things and actually get to talk to you for the first time. This is super fun. And then we have Nova joining us. Nova, welcome.
Yep. Thank you very much. Good to be here.
Yeah, I'm glad you were able to make it. And then Maverick is back. Maverick from the Fallout Roundtable, one of our Rocket Club shows and longtime patron. Welcome back, Maverick.
Hello. I have coffee now.
The world is a better place. Coffee.
Yes.
Yes. And You Choose is joining us as well and is listening in because they are at work and work in a very loud environment, but is tuning in to be part of the conversation, at least on the listening side. So welcome, You Choose, to the conversation as well. And if you do want to chime in, you can always post some things in the Discord and maybe we can also read it out. But thank you, everybody, for joining me on this episode of the Fallout Lorecast and listeners and everybody else who's in the live show. So guys, here's the question. And I feel like after recording last week's episode, we came to some really weird conclusions, some really strange places, because in talking about all the different factions, a lot of the factions, of course, end up in this kind of gray zone between they've got some good qualities and some bad qualities, but not all of them really lend towards actually helping humanity towards a better future. Some of them are kind of short-sighted. Some of them don't necessarily even have goals that have to do with that. But I think one of the most startling revelations of that kind of questioning is that a group like the Enclave, who I've been doing episodes this last month on, who are nefariously, morally, let's say, off, they're disturbing at times because they're willing to do whatever at any cost, which also means killing lots and lots of people, actually do have a plan in the end for potentially saving humanity in the Wasteland in the long run. And it might work out. I would love to get some thoughts, at least starting with that group. What do you guys think? Do you think that there's some credibility to that? Do you think there's some potential there? Who wants to go first? Who would like to chime in? Lil?
Honestly, out of everybody that you had already discussed, I feel like the Enclave is the only ones that have like a fair chance of actually completing their mission.
Okay.
And yes, I know they're extremely black and white with no gray area on how they do things. But they're the only ones that really have a plan and I guess a means of doing it in as well.
Okay, so like compared to the Brotherhood are just kind of defending the use of technology. We've got, let's just go through the list real quick. We've got the Enclave, We've got the Brotherhood. These are the main factions, right? The NCR are kind of trying to put back society piece by piece. So they've got kind of a plan, but they're just on the ground, just kind of doing it. But you feel like the Enclave have kind of a master plan, kind of a long-term plan, rather than just we're just going to kind of piece by piece this, right? Is that kind of where you're going with that?
Yeah, especially since, like, you know, the Enclave was more of a nationwide, possibly worldwide organization, depending on if they had, like, you know, pockets throughout the world. And where, like, the Brotherhood of Steel, yes, they are kind of nationwide. They are more focused on preserving technology and the use of it. The NCR is just California, Vegas area. Mm-hmm. So they're the ones that are the most prepared and more like they have the mindset to preserve and make the world livable again.
What about a group like the Institute? Do you feel like the Institute has a long-term plan for the preservation of humanity?
Yes. Yes, honestly, going back on previous conversations, they might be the best ones, but they still have, I don't know, hidden means, I feel like. But so it might be a tie between the Enclave and the Institute, mostly just because they're more localized, it seems, in the Boston Commonwealth area. So I don't know what their larger goals are, but it seems like they have something going on. And they also have the massive amounts of technology that they can possibly actually make a difference in the world.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's kind of where I sort of landed at the end of that episode, was that you've got both of those groups. They both have kind of an they're ethically gray and dark in some regards, depending on who the leadership is much of the time, right? What the rest of you guys think? Do you think either of those groups really has a leg up on the other when it comes to plans for the future? Germinator.
Yeah, I can somehow see the Enclave and the Institute actually joining forces because they're more or less thinking about the same thing. And they both stem from the original United States. Mm-hmm. If you think about it. One side's from your whole politicians that have incarcerated themselves, so to speak, in a bunker. The other half is an actual institute of technology that's buried itself underneath itself.
Yeah.
And if they were to all join forces, you would have the best of both worlds. You'd have the organisation of the Enclave and you'd have the medical and food technology of the Institute.
Yeah, the science and medical side of the Institute. And what's interesting here is that the Enclave is, you look at the lore, the Institute was politicians, but it was also heads of industry, scientists, and people like that. The group at the Institute just didn't happen to be the people that were connected also to the Enclave. As far as I understand, that specific group of people were not tied to the Institute, although I think there were some people from CIT that were. The people who went on to build the Institute weren't. But if 200 years in the future, they were to circle back and recombine, I see what you're saying. Now, the question then would be, who's in charge? Right? Like, anytime you have two powerful groups come together and start to cooperate, then you have a question of who gets to make the call. Like, who gets to be in charge?
Well, that'd be pretty simple because you'd have the Enclave trying to force its way through with their military power, but then you also have the SRB. So they would just send their synth hunters out to go and put down anybody that's actually trying to claim the leadership. So I reckon rather than father, you'd have somebody from the SRB sitting on the top. Well, a bit like a dictatorship at that stage.
So you'd have like an initial conflict and then whoever wins out on that conflict. And you think that the Enclave would win? Well, I mean, after the events of Fallout 3, the Enclave is basically destroyed as far as we know. I mean, we went through that whole discussion about like, where are the Enclave after the events of Fallout 3 / New Vegas Fallout 4. And for the most part, as far as we know, the leadership has been gutted. Anybody who's left are ground troops who are, for the most part, saying like, "Oh, I wasn't involved. Don't look at me." Like they're hiding. People are out in hiding. So if you could take, and that's an interesting point. the mentality behind people who are looking for strong leadership isn't gone. The reason why people rally behind the kinds of groups like the Enclave is because they are seeking strong leaders. They are seeking people with a firm plan, strong leadership, power, those kinds of things. And if the Institute were able to market themselves as being the new solution that the Enclave wasn't able to give them, then those same people might rally underneath them.
Yeah, exactly. And we still don't know what's actually survived in Alaska and Canada.
Right.
There could be massive pockets of the Enclave still sitting up there, or even actual U.S. government.
That's true.
You just don't know yet.
We don't know. We don't know. And places like Chicago, I'd mentioned Chicago, or Appalachia, because of the events of Fall 76. We don't know about that place either. There's a lot of other pockets where Enclave remnants could be hiding out, or just stories haven't come out about yet. So that's very, very true. I know the rest of you guys probably have some thoughts about this as well. I know Maverick, you kind of have mentioned before that you've been a fan of the Enclave. Nova, I think you might have some opinions about this. What do you guys think? Who wants to go next? Maverick?
Funny thing is that our last episode was all about the Enclave too.
Yeah. So share some thoughts on this. I know you had Lawrence on your last episode of the Fallout Roundtable, who had guested on my show a few weeks ago as well. You guys have been talking about this.
Yeah, he wasn't able to come last week because he was on your show.
Yeah. So what do you think at the end of the story that we have so far, with the remnants of the Enclave possibly out there somewhere? Do you think they've got a good... I mean, obviously, they have a morally questionable solution to saving the Wasteland.
Every faction has a morally questionable solution. It's the nuclear wasteland.
Right. But do you think that their solution would actually work? That's the real question. Do you think...
I believe it would.
Okay.
To be honest, not putting my bias towards the Enclave aside. Okay. Okay. Just for a few minutes here.
Sure.
I really do believe that.
Okay, so let's get specific here. Specifically, their idea of using an engineered FEV virus to kill off any mutations. So any creatures, but also any humans who have come in contact with the FEV. That means ghouls. That also means wastelanders. People out in the wasteland who have come across the FEV. That also means people who are serving the Enclave. Soldiers who have been serving their entire lives, and their children and their families. That means anybody, so that only pure humans exist. And if that means wiping out 98% of the population so that 2% of the population survive once that virus gets out into the water supply, so that pure humans are all that's left, and those few pure, let's say you reduce the population of the wasteland down to 5,000 people across the entire North American continent, that those 5,000 people would eventually be able to repopulate the wasteland in a place where there are no more mutants at all. That's their solution, basically. And in a nutshell. In a nutshell, yeah. And do you think that would work?
I believe it would work, but we don't know what's going on across the pond called the Atlantic Ocean.
It's true.
Or Alaska, Canada, Hawaii, across the Pacific Ocean. We just know everything that's here and now. So that's what I think, is that in the American continent, in the North American continent, like you said, I believe it would work. Yes, it would be morally gray. It would be awful.
It would be morally dark. I mean, really, more than just gray.
It'd be very dark.
Yeah. But you think it would work? Those 5,000 people could put things back together and give them another 1,000 years. Eventually, they'd repopulate everything.
Yeah, because the institute's underground, and they always use hazmat radioactive suits when they're above.
Right. Oh, that's true. You'd have some of those people surviving. Mm-hmm. Yeah. This is interesting. Nova, what do you think? Are you on board with this idea?
So talking about the Enclave specifically, I just want to say one thing real quick. It wasn't it was only President Eden's idea to use the FEV to wipe the entire wasteland clean. It was August's idea just to take Project Purity and use as leverage to gain control of the capital wasteland. But going on to what we're discussing right now, I think that in its own way, it would work. But it'd be devastating, though. It would create a massive genetic bottleneck for humanity. It would pretty much wipe out, one of my favorite sayings is the greatest tool humanity has is its mind. By wiping out that massive amount of population, you're really limiting how many minds you can put to work on any subject. It doesn't matter what it is. It could be some Joe Schmo over there who doesn't know how to do math. He can still be useful, though, in carrying bricks. He can still be useful in constructing things. Just because you're not smart doesn't mean you're not useful to humanity as a whole,
or could solve other problems. Yeah, absolutely,
yeah, exactly.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and so in one way it would solve problems, but in another way it would create devastation. Though not just for people who died, but simply because there wouldn't be the workforce to rebuild society itself. And this will always happen with this massive. You can look at. You can look at China during the Great Leap Forward, or during the Cultural Revolution, or Russia during the Soviet era, where these massive mega projects where they're trying to solve this one problem creates this whole host of other problems that need to be solved in the future that just ruin lives, countless amount of lives. And so that's how I view this problem. That's how I view this as what the Enclave was doing was as this massive mega project. They were like, okay, we're going to solve this one problem of ghouls and supermutants being the scourge of the wasteland, and then completely ignore that it's going to literally kill off 98% of the population. That's a problem down the road we'll deal with. And then, like I said, on the road, then they're going to have a massive labor shortage, a massive genetic bottleneck where undesirable traits like cleft foot or anything else like that that are considered hindrances.
Sure. Or other mutations naturally happen whenever you have a genetic bottleneck.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, right. That's more likely to happen because you're going to be getting a lot more inbreeding. That's just how I look at this problem right now. Is it's a huge, massive, overarching step that probably shouldn't be taken. That's pointed towards one specific goal and ignoring everything else. The entire domino effect that it would have. It's just a single-minded, tunnel vision focus on this.
Mm-hmm. So, do you think that there's another faction that has a better solution?
Yes, the NCR.
Okay.
Right off the bat. All right. Yeah. So
let's pivot. Okay. So the NCR. Why do you think the NCR solution is better?
So I think the NCR's solution is better is because they're more humanitarian. They're not going out just for themselves. They are going out for themselves, but their ideals is to incorporate other communities into their new nation and redevelop America from the West East. So it's almost a reversed it's a reversed manifest destiny, and that's how I see it. It's a reverse manifest destiny that the NCR sees as a duty to go and civilize the North American continent, going that way towards Washington D.C. Mm-hmm. And as they keep going, they're going to continue to do what the Enclave is doing, but at a costlier per person price is going to be paid, though. So instead of sitting back and having a virus do your dirty work, you're going to send soldiers in to go clear out the buildings, go clear out the rubble, go recapture individual cities, tame the wild wasteland. Really, right?
Hard work, manpower. Yeah,
exactly. Yeah, and so, but there's always the flip side of that, though. The larger a government, the larger an organization gets, the more potential there's for corruption. And so there's really going to be a certain point with the limited manpower and resources that the NCR has at the moment. Even if they keep going out, there's going to be a tipping point where it becomes a loss for these people onwards, where they're feeding into the system but not getting anything out of it, though. Mm-hmm. And so there's ideally, which we know it's not going to happen, though, but I'm saying ideally, if the NCR could actually find where we could expand to just stop there and just let those people over there develop their own society, that would be ideally. We know for a fact it's not going to happen, though, because they're imperialistic. They see the North American continent as as belonging to them. Like I said, reverse manifest destiny. Well, it is manifest destiny, but reverse direction.
Right. Yeah. Okay. So what do the rest of you guys think? Do you think the NCR has a solution that could work? I mean, it is a lot less problematic, authoritarian, a lot less murderous when it comes to just, wiping everybody out.
Also, I'm going to add this one last thing. The followers of the apocalypse are also kind of melded in and follow behind with the NCR's expansion. And so that's kind of an added benefit for the people who live in that area.
Right.
I forgot to mention that.
Yeah, that is nice because they're obviously humanitarian and an extra benefit to the group in that way. What do you guys think? Lil?
Maverick wants to go first.
Oh, Maverick, go ahead.
I do want to go first, but
Go ahead.
So I think listening to all this, I think the NCR, even though I like to go all murdery sometimes,
Okay.
murdery and all morally dark and gray. That's probably why I've leaned more towards the Enclaves. God bless the Enclave. God bless America. I do believe, morally standing point, I do believe the NCR with their whole manifest destiny idea. Granted, yes, it probably would be a more authoritarianism. It would be a lot more restrictive than probably the Enclave. I mean, the Enclave would probably have been 10 times more restrictive.
Yes, right.
So it's the lesser of two evils here at this point.
I mean, you think, why would they be an evil? Like, what would be because they would be the more...
You don't know what those soldiers may do.
That's true. You don't know what the soldiers may do, but living underneath the NCR is going to be more of a representational government, similar to what we already have.
Yeah. So far, the NCR has a government. At this point,
I mean, it's not going to be perfect.
We talked about this during our last episode about the NCR and how they have the best government that's similar to old world government that would work the best. That we were thinking that the Enclave would probably pull a Winter Soldier and infiltrate and kill everyone off.
I see. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So that's the whole thing with the NCR is that it is the most like the government that came before it, in that it's a representational government, and you would have elected officials and those kinds of things. But with the government that comes before it, you have the same issues that come with the government that comes before it. So corruption, political groups that are getting paid off, or individuals who are getting paid off, corruption, all of that kind of thing. So you do have, no system's perfect. So you do have those issues as well, right? Lil, did you want to chime in on this one?
Yeah, I think I actually would like to change my answer I think the NCR is the better organization to pretty much create a normal world because of Project Purity if it's used, because like you said, it's wiping out anything that has a mutation, and they don't have any livestock or anything like that. And like, you do get rid of all of like the like, I don't want to call them lesser people, but like people that are like needed for like the hard labor.
Commoners. So you get rid of the regular people, folk. Right?
You get rid of the common folk, and honestly, that's doing that and leaving yourself with such a low pool. You honestly kill society. So, especially like even going back to just like wildlife, because like plants and everything like that, you sterilize the planet at that point.
Right. Like, what percentage of the actual plants and animals aren't mutated? How many of them would exist at any amount
and
at
then
all? Right.
With the NCR, yes, corruption is a huge issue, but I feel like that is something that will be localized to areas, because not everyone is going to like follow the same exact, like everyone's not going to like follow it to a T. Everyone's going to put their own spin on it, because you can't just like have like cookie cutter like followings throughout the entire world or the entire country. But I feel like it gives people a chance to actually survive if it was the NCR to take over, because then they're able to just organize and then like be able to give some more like structure and order to the society and not have to worry about everybody dying. It might just be like, like raiders, bandits, anybody that is like nefarious.
Yeah. Germinator, you wanted to chime in. What do you think?
Yeah, I was just thinking with the NCR, if they were to extend their reach all the way to the West Coast and integrate the Minutemen into their ranks, they wouldn't have to concentrate on both governmental side of things and the military side of things, because they can have their own pockets of the Minutemen, just like in the old days of America, to stop raider attacks, mutants, etc., and they can focus solely on government and bring in the, what do you guys call it, transcontinental railway, the one that goes from east to west?
Sure. Yeah.
Because they were working on rebuilding the railway in New Vegas anyway.
Right.
Until the powder gangs decided to stop things up.
Yeah. Well, they like to blow everything up. So, yeah. I think that's a really cool idea because, and this is something that occurred to me as well, if you take a number of these factions and even some of the smaller factions and you combine them, they kind of fit together pretty well. You take the governmental system from the NCR, you take the militia from the Minutemen, you take the humanitarian group from the, Nova mentioned them before, the name fell out of my head, the
Followers of the Apocalypse.
Followers of the Apocalypse. Then you also could take like even like a refined version of the Institute, if you were to take their science and medical technology, or the Brotherhood, and you could work in the military or the technology side of the Brotherhood. Like some of these other groups, if you could combine them in ways where you could actually group them back together, could turn into a very effective future governmental societal system for the future of the Wasteland. But the problem is that all of these groups never seem to get along. They never all seem to work together for any long period of time in any meaningful way, right? They all just kind of eventually fall apart. And that's what creates a good story and creates an interesting, gameplay and factions that splinter off. And in some ways that's also very human, right? So there is that. But yeah, it's interesting though, because like there are risks to both sides. Like you guys mentioned, the whole, going down to a very small population has its risks. The whole putting all your eggs in a system that is this basically the same system that worked before still kind of has its risks as well, because of the potential for corruption and a world that is more dangerous than that system originally was used in. I mean, America was built in a world where you didn't have a bunch of irradiated, mutated monsters running around. Like human beings tamed a world where there were like giant, megalithic monsters like, the woolly mammoth and the saber-toothed tiger and things like that. But we didn't have to deal with death claws, and snallygasters. Germinator?
That might be true for America, but if you have a look at Australia...
That's true. It is a horror-scape over there. I'm only
going to mention one animal, the cassowary. Those things stand at 6 foot tall, and they will chase you, and they can run at over 50 k's an hour.
Are you talking about a kangaroo?
And their claws are sharp enough to gut you.
Yeah.
And you have 7 out of the 10 world's most poisonous snakes. You have all the top 10 of the most deadly spiders.
It's true. Australia is kind of a horror show. Yeah.
Yeah, Australia is real life Fallout if you really think about it.
It basically is.
We have all of the worst.
That's true. Well, there is that. Yeah. It's an interesting thing to think about. Like when it really comes down to it, which group really has the potential to actually solve the Wasteland question, Well, guys, we're in the middle of the show. Why don't we take a quick break? We've got some patrons to thank, you guys, and some other people. We've got a few quick reviews to read out. And then there's some big news about Fallout 76. And I want to get some of your thoughts on it. So we're going to talk about that in a little bit. So don't go anywhere. It's time for that spring reset. I'm taking a look at everything in my closet and figuring out that, oh no, this absolutely needs to go. And it's about time I replace things so that my clothes aren't older than my 15-year-old. Now you might think that they lasted that long because they were well made, but no, they're in terrible condition. Unlike the new jeans I just got from Quince. Jeans have always been my personal go-to because you can kind of wear them for lots of different things, but maybe they're not your thing. Maybe you're looking for, 100% European linen with insanely soft flow knit activewear fabric. It's definitely getting warmer, and their flow knit activewear is moisture wicking, anti-odor, and soft enough that you'll actually want to wear it every day. So pick out what you want. You can't go wrong because they have prices 50 to 60% less than similar brands. And like I said before, they are high quality. I continue to wear their clothes all the time, and I know that these new jeans are going to last me a lot better than the other things in my wardrobe. And on top of it, they look great. They're so comfortable. And I spent just as much on the jeans that I am now cleaning out of my wardrobe. So if you're looking for something better, just all around better, go check out Quince. So go do it right now. Refresh your wardrobe with Quince. Go to quince.com/falloutlore for free shipping and 365-day returns. Now available in Canada too. Go to quince.com/falloutlore for free shipping and 365-day returns. Quince.com/falloutlore.
Hello there, old chap. Good to see another of General Atomic's finest, still eager to serve.
All right, so on the patron front, You Choose, who's tuning in right now as part of the chat, is our newest patron. Thank you for signing up, You Choose. And I hope I'm saying your name right. And thank you to all of our patrons for being here, including our Sentry Bot patron right now. I'm DeCreeper. Thank you for signing up and being part of our patrons, and all 55 of our patrons right now. Holy moly. Thank you to everybody. And if we've done anything to help you get through the workday, your workout, your drive to work, you're driving all over freaking Australia or the United States, like two of our patrons in our chat right now, man, truckers are awesome. You guys are the best. If it wasn't for truckers delivering our goods across the countries that we live in, I don't know what we would do. But if we've helped you get through any of that stuff, then go to patreon.com/falloutlorecast and check out all the different tiers. You can get ad-free episodes. You can join us on future chats like this. You can get t-shirts. There's all sorts of fun stuff. Go check that out. And this is my full-time job, so I appreciate every little bit that you guys do to help out with the show. It really does mean the world to me, including things like leaving reviews and ratings. Like we've got 3 new ones in here. This one from JD the Pest Guy in the United States, who wrote in on Apple Podcasts, gave it 5 stars and said, "Best podcast I've ever heard." Holy crap. Robots with Zeros. I'm leaving words. I've been listening to your show on my commute between jobs. It's so great to delve into the lore on one of my favorite game series. Well, thanks so much. Holy crap. Best show ever. That's amazing. Thank you, JD. Then we also have one from Meme Cousin in the United States, who wrote, "If you love Fallout, you'll love this podcast. 5 stars. I've always been so intrigued by the lore of Fallout, but of course, I don't want to look it all up for myself. I love that Robots has brought an in-depth look at the Fallout lore to podcast format. Keep up the great work." And great was in all caps. Thank you so much, Meme Cousin. And then we also have one more from CT107 in the US, who writes, 5 stars, more New Vegas content, please. Lore or playthrough and an episode about the Wild Wasteland perks and other perks. And this is like a review that's a request. So yes, I'm going to be trying to do some more New Vegas streams coming up. I know I haven't kind of been slacking on those. I'll try to get some more of that stuff in, and I try to cycle around and do different content about different things. I try to mention New Vegas whenever I can. Also, I believe I did cover a lot of the Wasteland. I think there is an episode where I did cover all the Wild Wasteland perks. I believe I did that episode. So go back and look through the playlist, because I think that one does exist. So go look it up. You might be pleasantly surprised that one already exists. So thank you to everybody who takes the time to do this. And it really does. It really does help. And then if you also listen on Spotify, you can leave us a 5-star review on there as well. All of this stuff really helps keep us up high in the rankings, and also brings in new listeners and lets them know what to expect when they check out the show, because your words are more valuable than mine, because of course I'm going to say, hey, I've got a cool show, you should check it out. But when you guys tell people about it, it means so much more. So thank you so much. All right, let's move on with the rest of the show.
If you have any questions about Nuka World, I'd be delighted to answer them.
All right, guys. Thank you for that awesome discussion, by the way, on the first part. I love getting your perspectives on these things, because I'm in my head all the time. But when I get to hear your thoughts on things, it makes me think in different directions than I do when I'm just thinking about stuff. But we had some really cool news. I know when it comes to Fallout 76, one of the big complaints is hey, why are they taking so long to bring out new content? And I wish they would give us more content. And what's with this game? Is it still alive? Are they still going to give us more stuff? And they always seem to be pushing back the roadmap. Well, we got some news here, and this comes directly from double11.com. And if you don't know who Double 11 is, they are a developer. They've worked on games like Rust. Do you remember Rust? Rust was one of those games that came out like years ago, and then it got released on console, and it's continued to have updates. It was really big, like 2 years ago when a bunch of streamers started playing it. Survival game where it's like a post-apocalyptic thing where you build resources and then you can raid each other's buildings and things like that. They've also done, they were the developer behind Minecraft Dungeons, which is a fun game. I don't know if you've played that, but it's actually a lot of fun. It's like, based in the Minecraft world, but you play with friends and you like fight a bunch of creepers and stuff, go through dungeons. It's kind of a looter combat game. Well, this is what they wrote, and this came out on their website. It says, adventure awaits in the wastelands of Fallout 76. At Double 11, we've made a name working with some of the biggest developers and publishers in the world. We are excited to be able to announce publicly that we've recently begun working with Bethesda Game Studios to create new challenges for players of Fallout 76. Since its release in 2018, Fallout 76 has invited players from all over the world to create a unique dweller, leave the vault, and explore the many wonders and challenges of the wasteland of Appalachia. Bethesda and Double 11 began speaking in late 2020, so it's already been 2 years. And since then, we've worked together on a host of exciting new content that will be enjoyed by this passionate community of fans later in 2022. Quote, it's a privilege to be trusted to work on one of the most iconic franchises in gaming history, Double 11 CEO Lee Hutchinson said. The team we've assembled to work on Fallout 76 are so passionate about the series. Working with Bethesda is a dream come true. We've loved working on this game so far, and from small beginnings, our team is expanding as we plan to develop more content in the future, so keep an eye on our careers page for more information on open roles across all disciplines. So, what do you guys think? Any thoughts on this, Maverick?
So you're saying I can get a job?
Yeah. You could get a job. So yes, that's one of the things they're saying is, one, they have been in talks with Bethesda for, I guess not really 2 years, but almost 2 years, at least a year and a half ish, about doing work with them. They're already starting to do work with Bethesda, with the Fallout 76 team at Bethesda, to create more content, and they are expanding the studio there, hiring more people to create more content for Fallout 76. So yeah. So if you are a game developer, then yes. And here, let me click on their careers page. So I don't think they're hiring truck drivers though. But
I know.
If I see a truck driver posting, I'll let you know. But yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. But what do you think?
I just hope I liked Rust. Rust was a fun game.
Mm-hmm.
I hope there's more. They bring more of that aspect into it, more building aspect. And not so much that it turns into Fallout 4, which I also liked how it was there, but I hope that it bring a little bit faster, but a lot more better stuff, if you know what I mean.
Okay. Germinator?
I hope they bring back the ammo and weapon crafting system from New Vegas.
Oh, yeah.
Because I wouldn't mind running around with a combat shotgun or even just a hunting shotgun with slugs. You do so much more damage to the builds. They're such a pain.
Yeah. Some more flexibility around the weapon system would be cool. Yeah, I could see that. So I have some thoughts on this too. One of my thoughts, and one of the things I noticed on the last time that Ken from the Chad Fallout 76 story podcast and I got a chance to interview some of the guys from the team, we noticed that some of their team members had moved on to work on getting the next Elder Scrolls game ready. And it seemed like the feeling I got was that they had moved the people around in their studios, and the sense I had was that this team had kind of been slimmed down and they moved some people over to the other studio. They'd kind of pushed back roadmaps 2 years running. So it seemed like they were kind of missing some deadlines. Like they were lacking the speed of getting things done the way that they hoped they could get things done with the manpower that they had. So to me, from like a business perspective and having worked inside marketing and coordinated with some like development teams that I used to actually do some stuff with, it seems like this was a solution that is faster to getting content out than actually hiring new people and getting those people up to speed. Because if they could hire a dev team that has experience in just doing stuff, that dev team has more experience than hiring new people and getting the new people up to speed individually. So my guess here, and this is all speculation, I don't know for sure. My guess here is that the core team that is working on 76 is still there, and that they are going to be the lead concept people and the lead people behind the ideas. So if they're going to work in something like weapon crafting or some of these new concepts, that's still going to come from the Fallout 76 team at Bethesda. The team at Double 11 are going to be a lot more of the people on the ground, the people who are creating the new world spaces, the new character models, the new textures, the new enemy types, the new building materials, the new, like all of the stuff. So like one of the things I've noticed in the game is that oftentimes when a new like another Tuesday comes up and you go into the shop, it's a lot of the same recycled stuff that came from like previous weeks. There's very few new stuff that shows up. In some of the new roadmaps, the stuff that has been in the new roadmaps, a lot of people have complained, isn't as exciting or even as diverse as some of the stuff that showed up in the roadmaps a year ago. So you have Fallout 76 team going, we can't keep up with the demand. We need more staff. And so so management's going, well, what if we hire on this other development team? And now we've like doubled the staff like overnight. Now they're able to put out more stuff. What do you think about that? Does that make sense?
No, yeah, it does make sense. And also, I think getting fresh blood onto the project might even help some creativity issues so that we get more and new different like items in like the shops or even maybe like daily quests or something like that.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Because if the management team's going, hey, we think we're going to go in this direction, and they pitch the idea to the other team over at Double 11 and they go, oh, that's a cool idea. What if we did this? Or when we did something similar in Rust or one of these other games, we also used this concept and it worked really good. People loved it. Then the management team goes, oh yeah, that's a really cool idea. Now you're right. Now they've got more minds on the project as well. They've got a lot more stuff they can work with. Just, like we talked about on this show, like when it's just me thinking about a thing, I'm limited to my own brain. But when I open up the concept to you guys, all of a sudden we've got more ideas moving around, and there's a lot more we could do with that, right? I think that's a great point. Yeah.
And also the other thing that I like about this is that they're not like a company that hasn't done like an online creative world game, and they actually have a little bit more experience, I would say, developing Rust, since it's more of you're given a completely clean slate and you build it as you want, and it's an ever evolving world. So like I guess maybe there'll be like more stability or like better creativity when it comes to building and other factors of 76 as well now.
Maybe, yeah. Yeah. I wonder what elements they might even include from something like a game designed like Rust. I know the team early on thought the game would be played a lot more like Rust, a lot more competitive between people, a lot more just like, people just attacking each other and being a little bit more, I don't know, PvP focused, I guess is the best way to say it.
Yeah, PvP.
Right.
That's another thing. I'm sorry. I don't mean to barge in here, but I had an idea pop in my head.
Yeah, go for it. Yeah.
When we were talking about PvP, I was when playing Rust and a lot of these other games that Double 11 does. They're a lot more PvP than what Fallout 76 is right now.
Yeah.
And I hope ever since they got rid of Nuclear Winter, or I think that's what. Yeah. Because I guess it died. And people weren't interested in it. They were more interested in the Wastelanders and the NPCs and the storytelling. I'm hoping that with Double 11 and all the other stuff that they've done PvP, that it'll revigorate and bring more PvP to the game.
Yeah, it might mean that they have more ideas for other game modes. Like this studio might be focusing on some other game mode they're looking to introduce, or another PvP variant that they haven't revealed yet, or a retooled Nuclear Winter type mode that they, or PvP mode in general that they haven't revealed. That could be the case. Germinator?
Yeah, I'm wondering if they're going to expand on Enclave, because that kind of stalled out a bit, didn't it?
On what? Sorry, it's a little garbly. Expand on what?
Is that better?
Yeah, that's a lot better.
Yeah, sorry, aircon was on. It's only 40 degrees outside. I'm wondering if they'll expand on the Enclave, and if we might see Enclave versus Brotherhood kind of battles.
Yeah.
I mean, now that Bethesda's brought the Brotherhood back into the game, there's still been no development on the Enclave in what, 2 years now?
Yeah, I mean, they were a big part of the original core story and the underlying events of Fallout 76 and the, before the vault doors opened and Modus and all that stuff. Yeah, absolutely. They might extend that part of the story. There has been speculation that if you were to choose a faction and create a like Fallout 76 doesn't have a guild system, like a clan or guild system. But what if you could create a guild around a specific faction, right? So what if I was to say, like, I'm going Brotherhood, and anybody who signs up for my guild is going to be Brotherhood? And then what if, Maverick was like, well, I'm going Enclave, and whoever signs up for my guild is going to be Enclave, right? Right. And then so maybe Lil and I go Brotherhood, and then, Germinator and Maverick go Enclave, and Nova decides he's going, I don't know, Responders, and we all have these different factions in our guilds. And when you fly your flag, you're now flagged PvP against only specific other guilds that are specific factions, right? And then you can use a certain, you have different settlements, and their settlement is flagged as a Brotherhood settlement, right? Or your settlement is flagged as there could be a whole PvP mode built around this, and then you could raid each other's bases. And you could build, there's so much potential with the core pieces that they've already built into the game that they just need the manpower to do stuff with them and try them out. And Fallout Worlds is a place where they could do that if they had enough staff to take those pieces and build out the potential of those things. So, yeah, I think you might be onto something. And they could use that to play out potential theories for future storylines, or simulated storylines. Like, what if all of this stuff what if there's a location out in the Wasteland somewhere where that's playing out all these scenarios in a simulation somewhere? Or some people think that Fallout 76 itself is a simulation, that it's all part of what's going on in the vault and that nobody's actually left the vault yet.
Well, that would explain why you keep just respawning wherever you want, rather than in Fallout 4 or anything before that, restarting at the last checkpoint.
Right. That's why when you die, you're not actually dead. It justifies a lot of other weirdness in the game that doesn't exist in other games. It justifies why there might be, NCR armor in Appalachia. Why are there things that exist in this game that don't exist temporally? And some of that stuff doesn't make sense. So what if it's all a simulation? So there's some cool stuff going on. You want to know about some of the jobs they have listed here? So here you go, Maverick. All right. Are you a lead artist, or a lead game programmer, or a games designer, or a C++ programmer? Any of those things ring true?
Nope.
You can apply. Do you live in the UK or Malaysia?
I wish.
Which one, UK or Malaysia?
UK.
I don't know much about Malaysia, so I've never
I don't
visited
know much
Malaysia.
about Malaysia either. That's why I don't want to go. No offense to anyone that lives there.
I don't know what it's like to be in Malaysia. I've visited the UK though. That might be cool. What about speculative applications? I don't know what that means. QA lead. There you go. You could be on the QA team. How about VFX?
I mean, that's what I do already here.
QA? You're a QA specialist?
Well, yeah, with my show, the Fallout Roundtable.
Oh, it is.
We're a speculative type of show.
Okay, I got you. What about a visual effects artist?
No, I'm actually trying to find one.
Okay. Or a producer. There you go. You could just be the producer.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
Yeah, you should submit an application if you feel like you could be the producer on their team.
Yes. Yes, let me go back to college.
Character artist. How about this? Who feels like they could just design characters? It's just like, here's my drawing. It's the equivalent of what like an 8-year-old could do.
As long as I don't have to draw.
As long as you don't have to draw. I think that you probably have to have some art skills in this. Lil, I'm trying to see if there's anything in here that has to do with photography.
Oh, that's going to be a long shot, I feel like.
Yeah, although like texture artists use a lot of photography in developing their textures, but then you also need other skills as well. Concept artist.
That does require some photography depending on like the situation, but like I've actually looked into it. Photography is very sparse when it comes to video game development.
It is. Environment artist. Maybe? I don't know.
Well,
it's a stretch.
If I might chime in here, as a photographer, you're not just limited to your standard 2D photography. You can do all your 3D model scanning and that. Weapons, tools, etc. That's all technically photography.
There you go.
He's not wrong.
There you go. Well,
No, he's not.
yeah, there you go. Okay. How about this one? Technical designer. I have no idea what that even means. Is that like button mapping? Like what is that? I don't even know.
Probably all code.
It's all code stuff.
Yeah, your technical design will be more of the actual NPC movements and that sort of thing. Your environmental
physics and stuff,
physics, yeah,
lighting and all that stuff. Yeah, I'm not qualified for any of this stuff. If they're
According
looking for
Ubisoft, hold on.
Oh, okay.
The technical designer, a game or level designer by training, and is known for their technical skills.
Well, I don't see podcaster on here or lore expert. I don't see that either. So, Double 11, if you need any of those things,
you have to be a lore expert in order to review the actual plot itself to make sure it's not game breaking.
Right. Yeah. Those positions are rare and uncommon and far and in between.
Yeah, it'd probably go along the lines of story writer.
Yeah. Usually they start out as story writers and then it's very rare that you end up in that kind of position. But man, this has been a lot of fun, guys. Do you have any last thoughts on any of the stuff that we've talked about? Anybody else want to go real quick before we wrap this up? Any other final thoughts? Any other hopes and dreams for Fallout 76? I mean, they said maybe we'll be getting some of the stuff they're working on by the end of the year. Do you think we'll be getting a little bit more coming out sooner than later? Shrugs? Seeing some shrugs. Germinator?
Well, I was just thinking there is somebody else in Appalachia we haven't considered. Secret Service. There's still a government agency. They could be the ones that bring back the Enclave.
Okay.
Because you have the Secret Service in Vault 79, if you remember.
Yeah. I wonder if that would play into anything that they're working on. Yeah, when it comes to the story stuff, I'm really not sure. I know we're going to the pit. I think that's going to be the next big story thing that we get. So how that ties into the events in Appalachia, I'm not sure. So it's anybody's guess right now. But well, thanks for joining me, guys. This has been super fun. Why don't we go back through and feel free to share anything you're working on, anything cool you want to share about what you've been doing, and ways that people can reach out to you. Lil Green, thanks for joining again. You got anything cool going on? You're still muted. It's okay.
There we go.
I could just pretend to say what you're saying and then just make it up. That could be real entertaining.
I have a bunch of personal projects I'm working on. It's just my schedule with wedding season is like shot.
Yeah.
So I mean, I have a bunch of stuff I want to get done. It's just especially like that Fallout miniature project. I'm looking at 3D printers to get some stuff printed up, and just trying to. I don't have anything at the moment to report on.
Well, that sounds fun. Well, good luck with the wedding season. Awesome. Thanks for joining. Germinator, you got anything going on or ways that you want people to reach out to you?
I mean, obviously on Discord. Usually you can find me on. I'm on Twitch as well. I don't usually stream. It's very, very rare. And the only thing I've been doing lately is running back and forth across the country, doing deliveries and getting parts for my truck.
Yeah. Well, thank you for your hard service because, man, truck life is not easy, but we definitely need it. So,
well, in Australia, we have only one railway line, like literally one line that connects east to west. Everything else is trucks. Without trucks, Australia stops.
Wow.
No food, nothing.
Wow. That's amazing. All right, man. Well, thanks for joining us. I'm glad you were able to make it.
Not a problem. It was a pleasure.
Awesome. Maverick, I know you got a show that you guys do.
Yeah, I got a show. Its name is the Fallout Roundtable. Just released our sixth episode yesterday.
Anything else going on?
I've been working on a separate project on a second podcast. It won't be out for a long time. It's going to be more of a drama-based podcast.
Oh.
Nothing to do with Fallout whatsoever.
Okay. Secret project.
Not even connected.
Interesting. All right. Well, you have to share more as it gets closer to release.
And then I'm here in my semi all day, every day.
All day, every day. Awesome, man. Well, thanks for joining us again. And then Nova, thanks for coming back, being a part of this.
Yeah, it's no problem at all. I had to run away from a tornado real quick.
Oh, is that what? Holy crap! You've had a very busy day. In the pre-show, Nova talked about how he almost got attacked by somebody on the street. Some craziness happened.
And then someone was driving down the wrong side of the road straight towards me on the highway.
Did you walk under
like
a open ladder, or did a black cat cross your path, or like what happened, man?
Dude, I don't even know today. It's been weird. And then, like I said, there was a tornado siren that was in the that's why I left in the first place, and I came back because it stopped going. Worst tornado I've ever seen. It's like 3-mile-an-hour winds outside. But
well, yeah. Hey, I'm glad you've survived it all and you're able to join us.
Round 2 is on its way right now.
Oh boy! All right, well, you keep surviving.
yeah. But the project I'm working on, I'm do my usual writing thing, currently in the final stages of producing another video. It's about like the history and lore of power armor and the implementation within the Fallout. Because if you didn't know, there are different uses for different sets of power armor, like lore wise. In the actual games itself, they're all pretty much the same, just protection based. But in the lore, if you look at it, each one had different specific uses, which I find really interesting. And if you want to contact me, I'm on Discord. You can add me in the actual server itself, or jump into my DMs. Or I'm also on Twitter at Supernova13. So
awesome. Well, that sounds cool. Yep. Cool stuff, man. Well, thanks for joining us again. And You Choose is here as well. Thanks for joining us, You Choose. I know things are kind of loud on your end, but I'm glad you were at least able to listen in. And thanks, everybody, for joining me. And you guys know where my stuff is, robotsradio.net, for all of my shows and all the other shows on the network, including the Robots Radio Rocket Club shows like the Fallout Roundtable, that Maverick does. And if you're interested in starting your own podcast, or you feel like you've got your own show, but you wish it was growing a little bit better, need some help with marketing it and learning how to grow a podcast, I'm happy to help. You can check out all that information. It's on the website, robotsradio.net. I've also got all my other shows, all the different Lorecasts that I do, Elder Scrolls and Cyberpunk and Mass Effect and all that stuff, The Witcher. But I also have the Lord of the Rings Lorecast. Episode 5 is up this week. We're talking about the coming of the elves, and man, that show's, I'm having so much fun doing that because it's such an awesome universe. So go check that stuff out. And of course, you can join me live for a lot of the other shows that I do everywhere. That's Robots Radio. So it's Twitch or YouTube or Facebook. Just look up Robots Radio in all those places. And that's what I got. I'll be back next week with another regular episode. And until then, just stay safe out there. Don't get hit by a tornado or a driver on the wrong side of the road or some crazy person in the middle of your street. Man, good luck, Nova. All right, everybody. Thanks for being here. See you guys next time. To plug into everything else we're doing, check out robotsradio.net. Also, look up the Robots Radio YouTube for videos about Fallout and other things. And check us out on Twitter, twitter.com/robotsradio.
You've been listening to a Robots Radio podcast. Smart shows for interesting people. Check out all the shows at robotsradio.net.